Today, I'm going to talk about a topic that creates not only many doubts, but also a lot of curiosity: the size of the vagina. If at any point you've wondered whether vaginal size really matters, if it changes over the years, or if it influences sexual pleasure, then this video is exactly for you. Welcome, I'm Dr. Mihai, urologist. In today's video, I'll explain everything about vaginal size, its ability to stretch, and whether it affects sexual relationships. If you appreciate honest, science-based explanations about intimate health, take a second to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos that bring clarity to taboo subjects. If you're here, it's because this subject interests you. But have you ever thought about why it draws so much curiosity? Well, if we take a group of women and privately ask them if they believe the size of their vagina is normal, many would hesitate before answering. And this happens because there is a lot of taboo, misinformation, and silence surrounding this topic. Different from men, who have an external organ that can be measured, women do not have a visible reference, which often creates insecurity. That's why, over time, many people have assumed that this comes down to sexual compatibility, whether the size matches or not. And that's one of the beliefs we're going to clarify in this video. Does vaginal size really vary? Yes. Vaginal size can differ from woman to woman and may be influenced by several factors, such as age, hormonal changes, childbirth, or previous pregnancies. From an anatomical perspective, many describe the vagina as a cylindrical tube. But in reality, when relaxed, it is more like a flattened, flexible canal, similar to a deflated balloon. However, because its walls are made of smooth muscle and elastic mucosa, it can expand and contract when needed. This expansion can occur during sexual arousal, insertion of a tampon or menstrual cup, childbirth preparation, certain gynecological procedures. When it expands, it acquires more of a cylindrical shape, though it is not perfectly straight. In some women, it may even present a slight curvature toward the abdomen, which is completely normal and not present in every case. What does science say about measurements? Thanks to scientific studies and modern imaging techniques, we know that the average vaginal length at rest in women who have not given birth is around 7 to 10 centimeters, and it can stretch up to 13 to 15 centimeters during arousal. There was a study conducted on women aged 28 to 70 years, and using magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, researchers found that the average resting vaginal length was 9.8 centimeters. When we talk about adaptability, studies show that the vagina is an extremely elastic organ. It can stretch up to 200 to 300% of its normal size, whether during sexual intercourse or childbirth. Because of this high flexibility, the vagina usually adapts well to the average male penis. As we know, most penises do not exceed 16 centimeters when erect. Of course, when the penis is significantly larger than this, there can be discomfort or even pain, simply because it may exceed the natural stretching capacity of the vagina in that woman. Are you finding this helpful so far? Type 1 if yes, or 0 if you'd like another topic. Your feedback shapes what I explain next. Now, you might be wondering, Doctor, if the vagina is so elastic, why do some women still feel pain during sex, whether due to size or certain positions? The explanation lies in the internal anatomy and the ligaments that support the vagina. Let me tell you a real example from my practice. Some time ago, a 32-year-old patient, let's call her Mariana, came to my office. She was visibly anxious and full of doubts. After a few minutes, she gathered courage and said, "Doctor, I think my vagina is too short." I asked her why she believed that. She explained that during sex, especially in certain positions, she felt intense pain. They often had to stop because she couldn't continue. Her partner even told her to seek medical help, saying there was no compatibility between his penis size and her vagina. She didn't believe his penis was extremely large, but she wanted to know whether something was wrong with her body. Before I explained it to her, I asked her to pause and think. Do you really believe your vagina is too short, or could there be another reason? And now I'll explain it to you, just like I explained to her. In Mariana's case, she likely has what we call a relative short vagina syndrome, meaning her vaginal canal has a reduced capacity for stretching. Some women naturally have less elasticity, while others, especially after childbirth or specific pelvic routines, may have a much higher ability to stretch. When the vagina has limited expansion, this can result in deep dyspareunia, pain that occurs during penetration, especially during deeper positions, even if the penis is of average size. It's not always about the size of the penis. It's often about how the vagina is positioned internally, its ligament support, depth, angle, and ability to stretch without pain. In this situation, what happens is that during penetration, if the vagina is unable to stretch properly, the vaginal ligaments become overstretched, and that is what causes pain. For many women, this pain gradually replaces the feeling of pleasure until it disappears completely during intercourse. This is actually very common in a large number of cases. Of course, there are women who may associate pain with pleasure because of specific preferences or practices, but that is a minority and more related to other contexts, a topic for another video. So, back to Mariana's case. After I explained all of this to her, she felt more calm and relieved. She understood that she did not have a short vagina, but rather this condition affecting stretching and pelvic support. I recommended that she start doing pelvic floor exercises and also suggested that she and her partner try different positions that felt more comfortable for both. And if they wanted to continue using positions that caused discomfort, but they enjoyed them, they could use lubricants, adjust angles, control penetration depth or rhythm, and communicate during sex, letting her partner know when to slow down or modify movements. With better communication, they could have more pleasurable and pain-free sexual experiences. Finally, if you still think that having frequent sexual intercourse will make the vagina loose and that it won't return to its original state, let me assure you, this is also a myth. Science has proven that the vagina always tries to return to its resting tone, unless there are specific situations like childbirth or certain surgeries that may temporarily affect it. But even then, it gradually returns to its previous shape. So, does size matter? The answer is, what truly matters is adaptability, proper lubrication, comfort, and communication with your partner. Remember that vaginal sensitivity is mostly concentrated in the first third of the vagina, so even a few centimeters, when used with care and connection, can make a huge difference in pleasure. Before finishing, I want to mention that in this video, I didn't go deep into topics like vaginal width, aging effects, and what happens after childbirth. If this helped you understand what's real, subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss part 2. What part surprised you most? Your comments inspire us to keep educating. Share this with someone who needs clarity, not myths.
Gentlemen, if today's video helped you protect your health, your confidence, or your energy, you can now say thanks in a special way. Just click the thanks button below the video. Your support helps me share more tips that keep men strong and healthy well past 60, and I truly appreciate every single one of you.